Hi, my name is Emily Jones, and I'll be talking about the topic of spanking. Recently, during a parenting class, the parent argued that they were spanked as a child and they turned out just fine. Spanking is a very controversial subject. Some believe that it teaches discipline and authority, while others believe it's considered abuse. Um, I personally believe that it meets in the middle. I was not spanked as a child um, regularly, but every so often when my parents didn't know what else to do, I was. Um, I can understand that parents use it as a last resort, but I don't think it teaches the child respect. One of the biggest theories that this violates is the idea of modeling. If two children are arguing and one hits the other and the parent responds by spanking, the child is actually learning that it's okay to hit and that it can resolve a problem. It's very hypocritical to respond to a physical situation with the physical act of spanking. Another reason I'm against it is because the child does not learn from their mistakes and are instead only afraid of the consequences. When spanking, parents tend to just spank the child and that's that. They don't give any explanation to the child of why they're being spanked. The child doesn't understand what they did wrong and they aren't given alternatives to handle the situation better. The only thing the child learns from this is that they don't want to get caught and spanked. I learned a lot of this information in Carol Ann Marshall's Marriage and Family Relationships course at Chico State. We spent some time discussing the effects of spanking. We watched a video that followed families that spanked their children, and during the video, they were faced with an intervention, and were suggested to refrain from spanking and to talk to the children instead. And they were also given pointers on how to handle the situation without spanking. In the end, most families resorted back to spanking because they said it was easier and it's what they knew how to do. Um, During the course, we talked a lot about the idea of modeling, and the parents were displaying to the children that hitting was a valid resolution to a problem. Another issue we discussed in class was the lack of understanding on the child's part. The child knows they're in trouble when they're spanked, but they might not understand why, and they're also not given the opportunity to learn. When a parent discusses the situation with the child, they're given appropriate ways to handle the problem issue. If it's not okay to spank a child in the classroom, I wonder what makes it okay to spank a child at home. I've never had a real life situation in which this issue has come up. The closest experience I have had is in Carol Ann Marshall's course. We were each assigned a partner in which we were hypothetically married to and had children with. We had to have discussions about how to raise our children, and spanking was one of the discussions we had to talk about. My partner was arguably for spanking because he was raised with it and said it taught him respect. I, however, was against it. We ended up compromising and said we would never spank a girl, but if it was a boy, it would depend on the depth of the issue and the heat of the moment. This just shows how controversial spanking really is, and that everyone has a different parenting style and that each style can be valid.